3 races remain in Season 7, and coming into tonight, your best 2 drivers are only separated by 2 points. Aiden Walker, the red-hot number 93, leads Daniel Mosteller into tonight's main event, the 3-time champion going up against the driver who could come away with his maiden title. Welcome back to coverage live on FTN of the IORA Cup Series in its 7th season. We're getting ready to go racing for the 12th time this year. From Joliet, Illinois, this is the Chicagoland Speedway, the mile-and-a-half venue, just a few miles adrift from one of the bustling urban areas in the United States. We've been to this track many a time before, but for the very first time, it has the honor of being a playoff track. This venue has proven exciting in the past, and we're expecting it to be a great prelude to our season finale in Las Vegas. Drivers getting to grips with the fact that tonight might play out a lot like that final race. Take good notes on the racetrack. Tonight, I'll be your host for this broadcast. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. As we get things rolling, we've got now 3 minutes left on the clock for drivers to take their qualifying time. Leading at the top of the board provisionally is Elijah Innes, but still quite a lot of times to be taken from here on out. River Page jumping up to the top of the board, and then you'll have Carlos Truther in the 39. River is dropping down and in, and you'll see right now he's going to be sitting on the top of the charts by 61 one-thousandths of a second. Here's Aladam Contreras in 14th place in the 92. Contreras on the way. He is the 14th of the 14 drivers with a time so far. That's expected to change as the run progresses, but currently, anyhow, he's got a lot of room for improvement. This is his second and final lap. At the line, he'll come across the stripe, and looks like it's going to be no improvement. Contreras back of the field tentatively. It looks like that lap time, though, should count for 10th or 11th. Officially qualifying, Aladam Contreras goes P11 after final review. Aiden Walker in the 93 needs a great qualifying run today. He and Aiden Walker have stretched themselves out. Of course, Daniel Mosteller and Aiden Walker have stretched out now to over 20 points up on the 3rd place driver. And as Walker comes across the line, this is the beginning of his first of 2 laps. He'll take this first one, and then he'll go at it for what is most likely his hot lap. Brought it up to speed last time by, and now powering down the Brant back straightaway. Walker in the Lively's custom diecast car has been having an amazing season. So far, Walker has been going toe-to-toe with Mosteller, and he's now a 3-time race winner this season, fresh off winning at Watkins Glen. At the line, that's a 30.987. That is good for 10th for the time being, just there with Tyler Shaw. Ryan Kwan in 9th, tentatively. Aiden's going to have to put up a better lap this time around if he wants any shot at a top 5 qualifying position. Top 10 is separate now by about 2/10, and the top 5 separate by 85 one-thousandths. So Walker is going to have to put up a 10th and a half on this lap, and he looks quick. 183 across the line. That's a 175 backing down. His lap time is incredible, though. That is a 30.739 for the pole position. Aiden Walker goes to the top of the board. Aiden sits 13 thousandths up on Lars Kinnewith with a statement lap. Daniel Mosteller can only amount for 11th place. Devins Baker hits the wall, looks like sitting 24th. All the while, Jacob Wilkerson hasn't taken a time. Same goes for Wayne Kennedy or Yahir Rodriguez. Most drivers have taken a lap, and those that haven't aren't on the racetrack. Chase Schaefer goes 3rd and backs it down. Baker, wrecked, lies on the circuit with 3 seconds remaining. Qualifying has concluded, and the 93 of Walker, as your championship leader, gets a critical qualifying spot, and that is 1st place. Pole position goes to the driver of the number 93, and Aiden again is back on top. The field is ready to roll from Chicagoland, a 120-lap feature coming in at about 180 miles on the day, looking to see a split strategy of 60 laps apiece. That's going to be changed by our fuel limitation tonight, and that's going to be 80%, which means we are most likely going to see a multi-stop strategy as we have multiple tires available as well with 6 sets disposed to us. Ambient temperature of 81 degrees Fahrenheit and a track temp of 101 degrees with a relative humidity low at only 17%. We're about to get things going here from Chicago, so how about we learn about who is where and what's going on the racing circuit. Your field is lined up, so let's get to know your starting grid from top to bottom. More than 25 drivers have registered once again for tonight's competition, and at the pole of the ball, it is Aiden Walker in the 93. Aiden finds himself inside of row number 1 with a 30.739. Walker's got the top position. With him is Lars Kennewith. Kennewith still looking for that breakout first win as he remains a championship contender. He'll start ahead of Chase Schaefer and River Page tonight, both of which are additionally title eligible. Just beyond that will be Elijah Innes qualifying in 5th. Then from there, you'll have the 96 of James Thurston, who starts P6. 7th place is Sean Rowe, and you'll have 8th in Vincent Guecci, 9th in Henry Kaloff, and Carlos Truther rounds out the top 10. 11th place is Andres Varas and Daniel Mosteller is P12, with 13th place Frank Horley, Ryan Kwan in 14th, Tyler Shaw P15, and Richard Bunkley in the 61. Just beside him, Bunkley goes 16th place. It's going to be 17th, Aladam Contreras and Aiden Smith 18th. Got some rookies once again making their way through. Part-time guy is going to be seen in the back half of the qualifying order. From Aiden Smith, you'll then have 19th in Alexander Balderas and Jason Sametto in 20th. Michael Deitch 21st, Braxton Whitaker 22nd, and Jacob Wilkerson 23rd. Yahir Rodriguez is P24. 25th and 26th, your final drivers on the lineup today. Devins Baker, and the man who won from last in the field in Talladega, Wayne Kennedy, 26th, all the way at the back. Chicagoland Speedway playing host for 120 laps tonight, and your pole sitter is your championship leader, Aiden Walker, and we're half a lap from getting things rolling. Walker and Kennewith are the 1-2 combo who find themselves leading now, and of course, they'll be ready to drop it into gear. 26 drivers, a great crowd for this late portion of the season. We've had a remarkable amount of attendance this year, and the quality of racing has been even better. Now, let's see what happens next as we get to business. 3 races to go in the championship. Walker and Mosteller come in practically identical in points. 2 is the difference. Whoever gets away better today will have a significantly better chance at the title in Sin City. Green flags out from the Windy City, however. Aiden Walker brings the field fanning out nearly 4 wide into turn 22. Welcome back to Chicagoland. 4 laps in out of 120, and the ball has gotten rolling. Chase Schaefer getting by with a connecting Lars Kennewith take the race lead. Aiden Walker goes third. River Page is in fourth. As quickly as Aiden Walker got the race lead in the pole position, he dropped back. And it looks like now the pressure is on between drivers in the middle of the field to start moving their way up. Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport have sent 2 drivers in River Page and James Thurston to back today, and so far both of which have done a remarkable job in getting up in front. Now the battle lies for the race lead in Schaefer and Kennewith, and they're toe-to-toe already. 5 laps in out of 120 laps. There is not a lot of time for a race like this to unfold as it does. Up high, the 99 of Schaefer, toe-to-toe even still. You'll look further back and see a close battle in this nature as Henry Kaloff goes under on River Page. But your leaders are still dead even. Looks like, well, Walker got that single lap pace. The caution's out, and it looks like we've got trouble. Yellow flag flies. The caution is out. Elijah Innes falls to the tail end of the field. Innes involved in your first caution. Here's a replay. Up high, shot to the top, and yellow flag. Missing contact from Tyler Shaw. And we'll bring it back one more time to show you from a better angle what that was. You can see here going in with Richard Bunkley in the 61. Bunkley makes contact. Innes shoots high. Rapid fire into the outer safer barrier. The 104 gets very lucky. That is Tyler Shaw, who only escapes with a minor contact, if anything. Innes, though, is going to be at the back of the field as Yahir Rodriguez registers. The caution's out. Innes to pit road. Chase Schaefer and leading company? Not so much. It's going to be Schaefer leading over Kennewith and Walker, with Henry Kaloff, River Page, Sean Rowe, and James Thurston down to 7th. You'll see that immediately split in strategy. Tonight we have 2 extra sets as compared to usual. We usually work with 4. Tonight we have 6. Kennewith will bring him down, and it looks like no harm in trying to use more when you have it. Lars to the inside. Everyone else coming with them. Going to be a pretty simple open and shut case on pit road to begin the night. On the way out, Daniel Mosteller. Following him, Bunkley, Contreras, Aiden Walker, Lars Kennewith, and River Page, with Frank Horley immediately subsequent. Horley now finding himself in the 14th position. That time by. A few holdouts, but the winner off pit road, by all accounts, is Demos. And he's now up front with the holdout guys, including Baker, Wilkerson, John Rowe, Henry Kaloff, and of course, your current leader, Chase Schaefer. Now, I figure that everyone's going to be asking the question of whether or not Chase Schaefer makes the right call. And not often in sim racing is this holdout mentality the winning one. And I think right now it shows once again, Schaefer's one of those guys who can do it, yes, but also he has that confidence in doing so. The big difference is Schaefer right now is almost alone. We'll be restarting at lap number 10 of 120. Sean Rowe looking to get that fire lit under him once again. The 29 car, the Daytona race winner, started the playoffs well and found himself a top 5 man up till Watkins Glen. That road course race knocking a few guys around, Rowe finds himself now 9th in points. The separation between James Thurston in 3rd and 9th in Sean Rowe is exactly 20 points, and then you would have to go for a gap of about 30, 29 in fact, to get from James Thurston to Daniel Mosteller, who are only separated by 1 position. That is between 3rd and 2nd. Chase Schaefer holds out. Does this old rubber work and plan? Not a lot of time spent under green so far. I think the ambition for Chase Schaefer is to wait this run out. Maybe it doesn't go his way, but the next 100 plus laps surely could. Green flag gets going, inside line, a little bit wobbly off the back end of Chase Schaefer, but he'll be just fine. It's your first restart of the day, and it is Chase Schaefer to the points. Ten laps in out of 120. Jacob Wilkerson looking about as good as he has all night long. Jacob started in 23rd today, so keep that in mind. He's a driver who we have seen successful beforehand. At times, the issue becomes, for the 43 crew anyway, that he doesn't necessarily run consistent enough to have those efforts show. He's a part-timer, but when he comes around, he is very often a winner. And it looks like that is the case once again, or at least the goal for Wilkerson is that it will be the case. The EPI car, backed by Norseforce, is one of the many now with that super team status, and he's ascended not only through paintbrush racing, but also through the sim racing world. Up high, Schaefer blocking big. Henry Kaloff is not going to work him easy. Talk about a hard fight. The 63 of Kaloff really putting it to Chase there. Now Schaefer, of course, is going to have himself working the back straightaway with a little bit more vigor now that he knows the guys behind him will not go easy. And these are the drivers, again, who are, of course, on older rubber. Watch out for Daniel Mosteller here. When Daniel Mosteller gets a shot to cut through, or if someone like River Page or Lars Kinnewith does, then we're really going to see who has it made. It's only an 8-lap difference, which doesn't mean a lot in the first 8 laps. But give this stint about 20 to 30 laps, and you're going to see Schaefer's going to be at a massive disadvantage. And I think, unfortunately, that is just a matter of fact in a circumstance like this. Side by side for second. Henry Kaloff high, Wilkerson low. They're leaning on each other further behind. River Page getting worked over as well. Page with Kinnewith. Frank Horley still watching. 13th to 7th and gaining 6. Frank Horley, one of the biggest movers inside the top 10. Horley, a part-time driver. He's making one of his first 5 starts this season and representing with the number 22 Shell Pennzoil car, which, of course, the Penske guys have seen great success here in Chicagoland. Tonight, it looks like that Ford Mustang with scallops and all is looking to bring Horley up to what could be his first career podium or first career victory in the IORA Cup Series. He's yet to do either of which beforehand, and already he's up to 7th place trying to go for more racing power. Side by side, and it's nearly 3, nearly 4 with Frank Horley. Horley to the bottom, making it 3 wide with Lars Kinnewith and River Page. Chase Schaefer still keeping him at bay. Frank Horley is coming in like a rocket ship. Second, the 22 cars got it up front. Lars Kinnewith goes 3rd. You got Jacob Wilkerson right around him. River Page concludes the top 5. 2nd to 5th now. Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsports separate. As you can look a little bit further behind, it's James Thurston in the 96 who now has to work it out. Thurston, of course, still in the top 10, but it looks like his teammate getting away. Aiden Walker in the middle of the pack as well. It's a closer fight between he and Daniel Mosteller. Still the advantage on pace looks to be with Aiden Walker. And we're watching now as the 93 pulls a few positions ahead. Walker and Mosteller is the battle of the day on the racetrack, even if right now they are separate. Every position and every point they have on one another will be the difference maker between a championship for the 93 or a championship for the 87. While other drivers remain mathematically eligible, when it comes down to the final 3 races, which involve Chicagoland, Iowa, and Las Vegas, I don't think we're going to see anything more, of course, than these two going toe-to-toe. Daniel Mosteller is coming in as the reigning champion and the 3-time champion, the winningest driver to ever do it. Aiden Walker has not yet before had a multi-time winning season, and it's been since season 3 when we used the trucks that he wasn't dominant. Of course, now he's gotten it back. Walker still ahead now, not only of Mosteller, but another champion in James Thurston. Thurston to the inside of the 96, gets it to the bottom, and he's got it on Jacob Wilkerson. Coming across the line once again, it is Frank Horley to the point. Got a 0.5 of a second over the field now. He's gotten away from Schaefer, and this is when that new rubber comes in. Schaefer is on 8-lap older tire than the Horley car. And Frank right now, 13th to first, has made big moves. Going from the middle of the pack up front, the strategy is really what's pulled him in. Chasing the 99 car, watching with Lars Kennewith. Kennewith still having to look behind and watch his back. Jacob Wilkerson, Andres Faras, and Aiden Smith. Smith is the rookie in the 09 car, running his very first race here at Chicagoland. The Popeyes Chevrolet is inside the top 10 for the first time. He qualified 18th today, and it looks like now has made a gain of 9 positions. 21 laps in out of 120, 100 laps remain. Smith dives low, takes the spot. Braxton Whitaker 22nd to 12th, also one who's been on the rise. It looks like he made the proper strategy call to put himself in this position. Demos is in 11th, and I think for the 87 team, that's a little bit more alarming than anything else. Maybe still trying to get a feel out for the car, at which point, and in which case he has some time, yes, but it's dicey. He's far behind where he would like to be, and moreover, Aiden Walker is far ahead where he is. Forget about the individual position of the 87. It's a lot more now coming down to where Walker ends up, and Aiden currently finds himself ahead. That advantage is everything. Less of an independent deal. It's more about watching them as a function, as two drivers going at each other. Of course, the race for the race win, that's every driver. But for the championship now, the field is narrowing. To the inside, Aiden Walker goes low. James Thurston stays in 6th place here, and it looks like he has remained just outside the confines of the top 10. And now to the top 5. He was in 9th last time we checked on him, and he was slowly making his way up. Looks like he's found himself now in the heat of the battle. All the while, Frank Horley in this number 22 car has bursted away. Horley looking the best he has all season long. Frank's got a 1-second lead over Lars Kennewith. River Page is 4th to 3rd. Could be Power Smash teammates swapping positions eventually. That's how close these two are to doing it. Thurston trying to get around Walker and Schaefer. Schaefer might be the easier of the two to pass. So far, however, with older tire, he has held on well, and you could see him using that third groove. That is just about the only tool he's got left in the box to keep himself at bay. Chase Schaefer's going to have to deal with that fact. For now, he has a disadvantage, but when that pit cycle comes to pass, he's going to have newer rubber, and he might be able to match on stint time, which means that he might be able to go down a pit road at the same time if he liked to, or stretch a little while longer. By virtue of the yellow flag, time persists. There isn't much of an immediate worry for Chase as to being critically off cycle, and even though he's going to be a little bit slower now, just by the nature of this situation, it doesn't mean the job is done. In fact, if I was Chase Schaefer, just be plotting out what's next to come. 120 laps on the table. We had a caution at about lap 7, and as such, it's a 40-lap stint, give or take. That's the estimate today. Pit road window is going to open up big time at lap 40, and you'll see drivers going in until about lap 50 in accordance with what we got going on. And a reminder, 6 tire sets. More than usual, and that means that drivers can expand their strategic calls to a certain extent we don't often see. We'll see whether or not they decide to do so. Frank Horley has become spontaneously dominant in the number 22 car. He leads now by a flat second at lap number 28. And it really does look like nobody is the match for him. Frank so far has been able to cover ground, and not only has he done so quickly, he has done it efficiently. Now the question becomes whether or not he's going to get reeled back in, because last time by, Lars Kenneth was a 1/10 of a second quicker, but the immediate way Frank got out to the front of the field made it appear that there really was nobody to match him. Right now, and even still, it looks like very little has changed. Now the question becomes who's going to lead to the pit cycle. Whoever has that prestige very likely is going to have the edge for the remainder of the green flag run. 24 of River Page might be poised to do it. While Lars Kenneth catches up to Frank Horley, who's catching up to Lars Kenneth? It's the 24. River right now is in that situation of watching the first Predator catch up to the guy ahead, and he'll be the one to try and get on both of them. Of course, easier said than done. But right now, it looks like anyhow, River Page has to get that first job done and getting up to Horley before he can really consider going at Kenneth. And depending on how quick these guys are, it might be vice versa. 17th is Carlos Schurter, heading to the inside on Alexander Balderas. That's the battle for 16th. Schurter down low. Balderas to the high side, still working the ceiling of the circuit. And he's got it made. Bringing around the high side consistently for the Alexander Balderas car, and it looks like right now just doesn't have the spark, at least yet. Balderas is a former race winner at a non-superspeedway track. That was season 4 now in Atlanta. And what a win it was for Balderas to come away with his first career checkered flag, and undeniably a strong performance it was. It came down to tire strategy, in fact. Balderas was one of the quickest drivers on the day, but it was he and Aaron Schugel who were going at it with each other. Schugel made a critical error on pit road. Balderas did not. And that was the differentiator between him winning that race and maybe him coming second. Carlos Schurter to the inside. Carlos ducks low, and it looks like once again that back and forth persists. While Frank Horley has the race lead, we're going to look a little bit further back at this midfield, and you can see Elijah Innes getting just ahead of Henry Kaloff. Kaloff in the number 63, having a very strong run tonight to begin with, but it looks like now fading into the more mid-pack portion of the circuit. For second place, River Page has taken it from Lars Kenneth. Now he's looking to clear for it. Page up high. Matter of fact, it's going to be Kenneth down to the floor of the circuit. Side by side in 1 and 2, it remains a dead even battle. River, with a little bit more momentum through the corner and into the Brandt back straightaway, has the edge, and it's going to be River Page who takes it for second. Just like that, River up to second place. James Thurston watching and waiting, and it could be Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport going for a twin podium tonight. And that's going to help out big time, of course, for River to have that defense behind him. Walker still leads Daniel Mosteller. It's a battle between the 5th and 10th place drivers for top on the board, and the edge is with Walker. Looks like from the beginning of this race to now, there really hasn't been much change in that regard. Aiden Walker has been the guy to beat of those two. Walker watches as Thurston looks on to Kenneth. Side by side a little bit further behind here, Henry Kaloff and Aladam Contreras. Contreras looked for it, couldn't get there. Now a slice to the inside, it's the 92. Aladam goes deep, and it looks like goes without internet connection for that moment. It's the battle for 16th now. Kaloff trying to hang on a little longer, but he is one of the 6 holdouts. Aladam low. And Alexander Balderas watching. Take a look on board now with the 95. Baldair is here, going to have to deal with Contreras and a little bit more of that internet flickering for Aladam, making it a harder pass. Baldair is part-time for the remainder of the season here, and it looks like still some troubles in getting up. We'll see what he does now, as up front, Jason Semedo chasing after Andres Varas. Now, Mosteller is in ninth, and he's coming up fast on Aiden Smith. Smith with a very tight line, exiting two. Not going to work out. Demos to the inner groove. Daniel Mosteller now for 8th place, as Wilkerson looks for 7th. Now that's going to cut the gap down between Walker and Mosteller immensely. Of course, positions are what counts, and it looks like Mosteller might have a realistic shot at getting up there as high as 7th, while Walker lies in 5th. Is it still a deficit? Well, by all accounts, yes it is. But if it's a lesser deficit, it can be come back from. The big question becomes who has the edge into Iowa and Las Vegas. Tonight's going to play in as a pivotal race, absolutely. But those final 2 championship races are everything as to determine who gets the title. Walker, of course, just needs to keep out-finishing Mosteller. If he does that, the championship is effectively his. Easier said than done. Demos now watching Jacob Wilkerson. Aiden Smith proving to be a little bit of an easier pass than maybe expected because he made that big bobble out of 2 just a lap ago. 40 laps in out of 120. Jacob 23rd to 7th is the biggest mover. While Frank Orley has gained 13 places so far, Wilkerson has gone up a total now of 16, and he did not take a qualifying time. He is the leading driver of all those who did not take a qualifying time as well. Of course, he's made his way up from the back of the field up front, and that is a remarkably challenging thing to do. 41 of 120, 80 laps left. Chase Schaefer 3rd down to 6th in the 99 car. He's dropped a few spots. And it looks like even still, with older rubber, he hasn't dropped that far. Maybe the biggest surprise of all is that Chase Schaefer has maintained despite the fact he held out. And while other drivers, maybe say for instance Kaloff with them, have dropped further behind, or Devins Baker, Chase instead has been able to maintain and has only lost a few inevitable positions as he comes off the wall and scrapes it back. That might help out with Wilkerson. We'll see what it does. Almost top 5 after 40 laps on old rubber. Chase Schaefer proving it can be done. They're catching up to Frank Horley, and the gap is now nearly in half. Horley led by just about a second. Now it looks to be just half that. 52 100ths of a second as they crossed the line last time by. It's been fluctuating between that marker and as high as about 6/10. So for River Page, it looks like he knows what he's got in his sights. Walker side by side with Thurston. James up high, Aiden down low, and it will be a critical pass now for this number 93 crew. With Mosteller slowly but surely rising up the chart, he can't afford. Walker can't afford to lose out on any other spot. Looking behind him, he might not see Demos yet, but Demos is there, still putting the work in. Schaefer's falling back, and that could mean an easy 7th place run. Of course, this is the battle for as high as 6th place, as now Wilkerson gets P6, Chase Schaefer is in 7th, and Daniel Mosteller is in 8th. So in a hypothetical sense, Demos could get up to 6th, while Walker remains in 5th. While Aiden right now is absolutely ahead of Daniel Mosteller on track, that really doesn't mean all too much in the points picture, neither of which have led a lap so far, neither of which won the pole position. Well, no, Aiden Walker did. One of them did, yes. But regardless, for Daniel Mosteller, being 1 position behind is far, far better than being 5 back, which he was previously. "46 laps in out of 120. Take a look to the ceiling. It's James Thurston again. Thurston's going after Kenowith. Aiden Walker's going to be the last of these guys working together, as Devins Baker, the lapper, goes low. Baker is now going to be 2 laps down as it stands. Next driver in jeopardy of going one under would be Wayne Kennedy, and it looks like this time by, yes, he will. Kennedy on pit road for 4 tires and fuel is going to be the first driver to do so. Carlos Truther also giving the signal, and it looks like the pit road window has officially opened. Watch for drivers to get on their way as Carlos Truther makes his move in the 39. Truther to the points, and he's getting the pit exit. Last pit lap is going to show you when drivers have decided to go in, and it looks like last pit lap going to be very different for a lot of those in the field as Wilkerson just dropped to pit road. Aiden for P1 relinquishes, and Frank Horley's now up in front. Frank pressured by River Page. Looks like now the 24 all over Horley's back end. The gap of what was a second has now become only about a tenth of it. Horley's got to watch his back. River looks low. Looks a little bit lower. They'll take it all the way down to the bottom of the apron. That's one of those things that Chicagoland has unique to this circuit. You can take it down to the inside of the racetrack and you can just keep driving. Page tries for it. Doesn't quite work there. And Horley gets the lead again. Frank having the advantage is not too much of a surprise now as we get to the very final moments of this run. Coming for lap number 50 of 120, the pit road cycle has gone just about to plan. Only one caution in between as an 8-lap hindrance, that early stint. But otherwise, everything is going exactly as expected. Frank Horley to the high side, River Page down low. Walker is now in 4th, Thurston now 5th, Mosteller now 6th. The gap is 2 positions between your top 2 drivers. River just cannot find a way around yet. Take a look aboard the 24 and see what he's got in store. This is from Frank Horley's perspective, but right behind him is River Page. River continuously tries to get a bit of a lower apex into the corner, and lower and later at that. You can see him trying to lunge in it a little bit deeper, trying to force that error through 1 and 2. Maybe a little bit less of the same through 3 and 4 as Frank Horley decides to come in, as does River Page. Top 2 drivers coming in synchrony. This gives Lars Kennewith the race lead. Kennewith for P1, bringing Thurston and Walker and Mosteller out on the track. And Chase Schaefer now finding himself up to 9th. Expecting for Schaefer to at least briefly take the race lead in this cycle, just by virtue of how early he got his rubber. And that's going to give him an opportunity to cycle ahead. We'll see how long it lasts, of course, but if a caution flies, Chase really wouldn't be in that bad of a position. Kennewith, Thurston, Walker, 1, 2, 3. They come in succession, and as for Daniel Mosteller, he'll be the 4th man in this lineup. Very conventional run right there for all of them. Aladam Contreras now 5th. Frank Horley still on pit road as you can see. River Page now on his way out. It looks like the entirety of your top 10 has now made its way through. We're watching to see who gets out first, but it's very likely now that Chase Schaefer will at least briefly touch the top step. Schaefer careening down the front straightaway. And it looks like that's exactly what we expected. Chase has the race lead. Lars Kennewith going to get going at it with River Page. That won't be for long. Page is now firmly in 2nd. That's the advantage of going in a little bit earlier for these 2 drivers. Although Page only went in at lap 52 and yet he's up to P2. Just a good cycle for him. Chase Schaefer going for more of that undercut. And that's exactly why he has the lead. "54 laps in out of 120. Chase Schaefer is advantageous. After a 47-lap stint, Schaefer, the holdout, has taken it back up front. So, With that said, still one pit stop is expected for every driver today from this point onward. And with it being a pretty simple strategy lineup, it's going to be the 99 of Chase Schaefer, of course, here, waiting until about lap 100 for his final stop. He might choose to go in a little bit earlier because that's pretty close to the end of this race. Mathematically, these drivers can go till 120 if they would like to. However, it's more likely that you'll see drivers go up to 100 if they are running on a later run. They are very likely to split it by lap 80 to 90, however, if they're going for a more conventional style, which means that what you're seeing right now might not be indicative of what is due to come. Daniel Mosteller is about now a second and a half behind Demo. Of course, that's Aiden Walker ahead. Lars Kennewith catching up to James Thurston, and Aiden Smith, the rookie, is running third. Now, Smith's had solid pace so far today, and it looks like maybe a little bit of a different strategy has gotten him up to this point. He went down to pit road at lap number 48, which by all accounts is a little bit early, but it isn't the earliest of drivers ahead. It looks like both Carlos Truther and Chase Schaefer got ahead at an earlier time, and Truther, of course, with 46 lap, that's when he went in. Undeniably now for Aiden Smith, well, he's got a lot of pressure on him. Let's see if he can work at it or if he's going to fade back. Smith low, Thurston high. It looks like now Thurston going to be surging through with that new tire. James for third place was just barely there at the line. The gap was, give or take, 28 one-thousandths of a second. Lars Kennewith dives to the bottom. He'll look for a fast crossover maneuver. We'll see if he get anything out of it. It looks like now Lars is low, but he isn't clear. Neither driver is. Side by side at the stripe. Nothing. Still toe-to-toe. And a practically identical run between these drivers as it stands, but Thurston gets away. Turns 1 and 2 is the difference. A lap for Kennewith, but the old rubber will not prevail, and this is when you start to see that advantage in numbers. Maybe a driver has the same pace as their competitor on the same tire, but if you plan out the track position with respect to your tire run, you're going to be in an amazing position. And what we mean by that is that you have it planned out that you'll have the new stuff, the good stuff, at the right time. As you can see, River Page has pulled a full second on Schaefer. 1.3. How about that? That's the difference in tire that we were talking about. Yeah, this time around, Schaefer's on almost the same call, but it is almost for a reason. Those 5 laps are going to be a big difference, and here, River Page goes across the line again. 60 laps in out of 120, make it 60 laps remaining for River Page. Aiden Walker in the 93 is still going to be in the top 5, and, well, it looks like it's a little closer now, but Demos remains the trailing man. If you can get by Aiden Smith quickly and cleanly, however, well, I think you're going to see a little bit of a difference. Watch down the ramp back straightaway. Daniel Mosteller ducks low. Aiden Smith, 6th. No longer. And the position 6-7 debated upon these drivers. It looks like the champ is going to take it, and Aiden Walker, who is your championship leader, now has to look back. Demos hasn't really looked like he's met Walker's match today. Maybe that's just because of qualifying, giving that impression that he was far behind, but even still, they've been several spots out for the majority of the night. Now, all of a sudden, it looks like that has changed. Daniel Mosteller doesn't have anyone else to work off as a bumper. He doesn't have a major gap to clear. Instead, he's got a very reasonable distance to travel to get up there in 58 laps time. I think what you're looking at right now is what's going to be the battle of the race. Not to say forget about the race lead, but River Page, he's got 3 seconds on the next driver, and Thurston, of course, his teammate, is 3.5 back. James in the 96, 6th to 3rd. Here comes Chase Schaefer, of course. But it looks like now Schaefer's old rubber might be giving in on him. Watch what happens down the back straight. Thurston lets off. Thurston in the wall. And in ambition comes a mistake. James Thurston, thinking he had room, ends up high. Again, for season after season, these two drivers never give each other room. Well, I don't think in that case that was the issue, but we'll see again. Side by side. Chase Schaefer to the top side once more. Oh, contact! Just about as deliberate as it gets. Chase Schaefer shot into the wall. Thurston hardly making an effort to get him out of there. And whatever these two have between each other continues. I mean, take a look back. Inside the cockpit from Thurston, I think this will tell the full story. Once he committed with a capital C. I mean, he did not get off the gas in the slightest. It's a funny thing for Thurston, but man, Thurston is the lucky man. Schaefer must be furious inside that cockpit because it costed him, of course, not only second, but also third. It is now Aiden Walker going toe-to-toe with Schaefer. And to say it's ridiculous is one thing, but I think it's more so that these two are so competitive with each other, and it sometimes brings out a worse standard of racing, shall we say. I mean, you hate to see it get like that. You always hate to see it like that between two drivers, especially two that are exceptionally talented, but it's happened. It's happened so many times. Now, Demos is not going to like this. He does not want another driver holding anyone up in his way. Swiftly to the inside, Schaefer with that damage. And the old tires aren't even what's hampering him any longer. It's the fact that his right front has been creamed in. I'm sure he's livid inside that cockpit now. But you can't even drive angry sometimes when the car ain't working with you. So we'll see if he gets a shot at recovery, but for the time being, more than halfway in, Thurston is getting away. It is Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport with the top two. River Page leading, and James Thurston in second. Carlos Truther with an internet malfunction unintentionally disconnects. It looks like he will be the first retiree of the day. Biggest movers in your top 10, 18th to 7th. And a round of applause for the kid in the 09, that is Aiden Smith. Smith looking good right now. And there is the lapper in Frank Horley. Frank is 1 under for the time being. Smith is not a driver who really has the reputation yet of being one of the mile-and-a-half aces, but I'll tell you this much, if he's got a little bit more in him like what we're seeing tonight, you might just be seeing another driver for future seasons who could do some big damage in a good way. Currently, he's going to be running alone in that 7th position. Really no competition around him. He is 4 seconds up on the man in Innis, and subsequently, he is also going to be 4 seconds behind someone like Daniel Mosteller. So really, he doesn't have to worry himself about everyone else. It just comes down to doing the right thing for his own sake. Aiden Walker is now half a second up on Demos. 50 laps to go. And so quickly it becomes the final countdown. Demos is watching ahead, and I'm sure now Walker is paying attention behind. Aiden Walker in a strategy call is going to be pretty basic from here. It's not going to be much of a concern as to whether or not he'll go the distance. I think everyone's got that final stop plotted out. When they want to go for it, how they're going to go for it, and maybe everything in between. Lars Kinnowith going at it though with James Thurston. The only thing up for grabs is additional track position. We say only in jest. That is the most important thing a driver can have, and if you don't use it wisely, well, it's just about game over. And as you can see here, Kinnowith coming up quickly on Thurston. These guys are going to be going nose to tail before you know it. 49 laps to go. Thurston getting wobbled up the circuit. Lars Kinnowith has the bottom. Lars down low. James up high. 48 laps to go. Who's going to give? A reminder in terms of tire that these two are on the same set. So it isn't a matter of numbers, but it is more a matter of who's got what it takes. If you're the better driver, it's going to show here because it's all about how you managed your equipment. And it looks like right now, Kennewick coming away as the supreme manager, not only of the tires, but also of the battle. Lars gets up there for second. Still 4 seconds back, of course, on River Page, but that can be fixed in due time. Aiden Walker and Daniel Mosteller just about a little closer. It's going to be some 0.3 of a second on a rolling basis. Less than 50 laps to go. Kennewick comes with Thurston, but River Page is out of sight. And not often does River Page get to pull that perfect strategy call, but whenever he has that confidence in his equipment, it really shows. Tonight's one of those examples, and it looks like River's going to be able to get away. Maybe not one of the front-lining championship contenders after a critical incident in Darlington, which took away many a point. He's looking now to recover for top 5 of the championship and to match, if not best, his teammate in Thurston. 46 to go, and a night like this is going to prove very important in a situation like that. River Page right now finds himself only 19 points off his teammate in Thurston. And we mentioned Sean Rowe is only 20 points behind coming in. The gap between 7th and 9th is a singular point across 3 drivers. Remarkable numbers. Oh, River Page in the wall and pretty blatant there. Nobody else around him if he's pushing himself that hard, though. It might be indicative of a problem in the future. We'll see. Walker getting ahead of Thurston, and it looks like that's more of a sign that Thurston is falling back than a sign that Walker's got the stuff to move up front. Kennewick down the back straight looking at Devins Baker. And now Demos Lowe. Ryan Kwan and Tyler Shaw, 2 guys who debuted at the very same time, and it looks like they've made almost the exact same number of starts now. Rookies this season, 0-28 and 104 respectively, both triple-digit threats. Today, Tyler Shaw able to get away from the claws of damage in that first caution and do so just barely. That was a race-changing moment for the 104 car, of course. Had he gotten a little bit more than a back-end scrape, you might have seen Shaw on the wrecker rather than running in 12th. Well, he was in 12th. Now he's fallen down to 14th. That came pretty quickly. Ryan Kwan getting by, as did Elijah Innes. And it's pretty contentious right now in the mid-pack. Jacob Wilkerson, 23rd to 13th. He is up 10 on the day. .42 laps to go and time's running out. Your top 10 goes as follows, with River Page leading by 4 seconds over Lars Kennewick in P2, Aiden Walker 3rd, and Daniel Mosteller then in 4th. It'll be Chase Schaefer just behind your 5th place man in James Thurston. Chase is yes in 6th, and he's going down to pit road. Pit cycle has begun once again at lap 80, and it looks like an early call for the 99 car. Watch for who's next. Last pit lap will show you that Chase Schaefer is the first of the top 10 to go through. Now, as it stands, Elijah Innes goes 6th, Aiden Smith in 7th, Aladam Contreras 8th, Henry Kaloff 9th, and Jason Semedo concludes the top 10. For those of you tuning in live on FTN Broadcasting so far, thank you for being here. If you've enjoyed our coverage, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you've enjoyed the action on your screen and you would like to join the fun, iRacing.com is the place to go to start your sim racing career. With more than 100 cars and 100 tracks available for racing action, you can go anywhere from the historical classics of the 1960s to the contemporary racing of today. With disciplines including stock cars, open wheel, endurance, dirt, and much more, iRacing is top-notch, used by amateurs and professionals alike. 39 laps to go, and we'll step by briefly for a message from our friends at iRacing.com. Thank you for tuning in so far tonight. We will return right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Watching and waiting as our final pit stops approach on the night. Chase Schaefer went in at 80, as did Tyler Shaw. Looks like two men are going to be those who are the exception. Well, Shaw went to pit road and retired for the night anyway. Everyone else has still been waiting for the time to drop in. Daniel Mosteller is right at it now with Aiden Walker, and this is the closest he's been in a 93 all night long. He's got an opportunity now to go for a double pass. He won't take it into this corner. 3 wide has been attempted sparingly today with limited success. I think that's the proper way to put it. Oh, contact there. Walker's going to get low and slow. Daniel Mosteller just gets lower. Here comes the 87, and the 3-time champ is ahead of his title rival. All night long, he's been waiting for that opportunity, and it comes to pass with 36 laps to go. They're side by side across the line again. Demos, I'll tell you what, he's been waiting, and he finally pounces on the shot. What a moment that was, as brief as it could have been. Walker composing himself well, putting it back together fast, not fast enough. When you make a mistake around Mosteller, it's very hard to really pull it through like that. Both drivers have to peel in for Chase Schaefer. As quick as Daniel Mosteller tried to get there, Aiden Walker shut him down. Walker's lucky that didn't go another direction, because those two even door slammed down the back straightaway. Lars Kennewith, I think, is going to serve as a foil to this battle for the race lead, of course, in the title lead as well. These guys are riding in second right now, and if River Page makes a mistake, this could very well be position number 1, not just for the championship, but for today's race. Daniel Mosteller and River Page have gone back and forth with victories as of late. Of course, one-upping Demos was what Walker did, winning in Watkins Glen. And just before that, it was Daniel Mosteller in Darlington. And the race before that, it was Aiden Walker. He got it done in Homestead. There's a reason these guys are the top 2, because they've won the last 3 consecutive races. And while tonight might not be theirs, at least just yet, still a lot of time to change that. Jacob Wilkerson just went down and in at lap number 86, and he's back on the way. Jacob is moving. Looking at that left side of the screen, you'll see who went in and when. Andres Varas decided to go through with Braxton Whitaker. Now those 2 drivers are on the way. Still watching the top 10 intently to see when those leading guys decide to make it. Lars Kennewith has instead put the gears together to get ahead of both Walker and Mosteller. All of a sudden, it looks like he's got it made. Lars for P2. Walker hasn't yet come close in this subsequent run. Wayne Kennedy is signaling pit in. As Wayne drops to the bottom of the circuit, it may just be next time by. Wayne, the most recent guy to signal he's deciding to take it through. Kennedy tonight's been at the back end of the field for the most part. It just looks like he hasn't gotten the pace going on to get up front. He's got a win this season so far, but it looks like otherwise it's been more about working in the mid-pack and getting that expertise for the future. Lars goes low, 30 laps remaining. Walker follows with Mosteller. Demos, half a lane, and it gets closed. You can't expect for those small opportunities to come back and forth so many times. Demos got that one real shot to slide through. It's not that he didn't take it, it's just that it didn't work out his way. Lars Kenowith still ahead. Watch these three drivers and keep a close eye on them even as pit road becomes busier. Drivers can go up to about 105, lap 105 if they would like to stretch it big. We've seen about a 50-lap run become the biggest that anyone's gone for, and Chase Schaefer decided to go for 47. He was one of the last holdouts to come in. Thanks to the skew that everyone else has, they might be able to go a little bit further than the 100-lap mark, and hence we say 105 might be the move. But it would be weird to see them go in so late. Or at least it's uncommon. Ryan Kwan and Aiden Smith decide to drop in, and as did Sean Rowe. It's not all too common to see a driver stretch it to the absolute max, because when they get going again, they're only going to have about 20 laps to put it back to speed. Usually that doesn't work out well. "28 laps to go. Now at 27, it's River Page. Henry Kaloff in the 63 has opted to come down and in from 8th on the circuit. And you'll see with them right now, it's going to be just ahead. Driver of the 88 in Vincent Guecci. Vinny opts through as well. Vinny qualified 8th today. He's had a pretty quiet day running in the bottom half of the top 10. James Thurston is in. Thurston comes with Elijah Innes, another critical pair at the front of the field. And River Page from the lead opts to do so as well. He'll bring in Bunkley behind him, but all eyes on River. Page is up front, and he had a 4-second gap going in. Lars Kenowith now is going to take the race lead as Walker goes to the inside groove, continues to block Demos. Kenowith is in. Walker slowed down big. He's lucky he didn't make any contact. Daniel Mosteller might have gained about a second or so from that altercation that didn't even involve him. Walker had to slow down extensively behind Kenowith. Luckily for him, he didn't make contact, but it looks like he was clearly thrown off his groove. These two come down together as Mosteller decides to take the race lead and get a lead lap bonus point. That could prove critical. Walker passed by River Page. Now he's in with 25 to go at lap number 96. So it looks like going in before 100 is the right call. And we're not going to see everyone super stretch it. Oh, Walker just ahead of Kenowith here. And they're racing contentious already. They're driving it up the gears and they're going at each other. Look at Kenowith here. I don't think that's going to work out. He went to the inside with that negative camber, and it slowed him down. Regardless, the hustle out of these drivers is ridiculous. 24 laps to go now. Chase Schaefer with the edge. Chase has 6.5 with 24 to go. Pretty soon he's going to be passed just by virtue of older rubber. You'll see that stint-wise, he got off at lap 80. And these most recent guys, 80 and 85, of course. No, 90 and 95. So a 15-lap deficit for Schaefer with 23 laps to go tire-wise. For those of you tuning in live on FTN, this is crunch time, so grab your popcorn because with 22 laps to go, as we usually do, we're going to crank it up. Thanks to our friends at Whiplash SimCams, iRacing's best camera provider. To learn more, visit their social media platforms, including their wonderful Discord server, where you can get free camera packs without any licensing involved. Camera packs are sold at $5 per tracker car. Check out Whiplash SimCams to learn more. Thank you to Whiplash SimCams and the Pit Stop TV family for helping us for 2025 and beyond. With 22 to go in Chicagoland, let's crank it up from the Windy City. To the race lead, River Page, and that's the pass for what could be the win. 19 laps to go, becomes 18, and the old rubber for the 99 gives way. Page to the points. And that is the move that could settle it all. While second place is still Schaefer, he's going to fall potentially into the clutches of the number 96 of James Thurston. Oh, well, remember what happened last time those two raced against each other. Didn't go well. I think you got to look at it as this. Those two drivers have been contentious, and it's not just a one-race thing. It's more often than not the buildup of multiple races, and it looks like this season those two drivers have already had their fair share of exchanges, and it has happened once again. Battling each other through thick and thin. Oftentimes, there's more contention between the 99 of Schaefer and the 96 of Thurston than meets the eye. And of course, when those flare-ups like we saw earlier happen, well, in a moment like this, when they're bound to collide again, hopefully it isn't anything more than a passing glance. We'll see. We're coming to 16 to go now. It really could go either way. Jacob Wilkerson, 23rd up to 7th. He has turned today into a steady growth. Very far behind to begin with, but it looks like an upper mid-pack finish and maybe even an outside shot at the top 5 if something happens ahead. Not all a bad way to end the night for the 43 car. EPI and North Force Racing have taken a challenge, of course, in Wilkerson, a driver who wasn't really in that semi-professional sim racing world and really built him up. He is one of the best drivers on the circuit that we see in IORA and Saturday Night Thunder, while a part-time competitor, always exciting. Getting his feet wet for the second half of this season. We haven't seen him all too much this time around, but it looks like, again, pulling good pace. 15 laps to go. Lars Kinowith second down to 5th. And right now, that Toyota Supra manning very well at the head of the pack. Lars getting up there on Thurston and Walker. You're going to see these drivers battle one more time. Daniel Mosteller, it looks like the tire strategy maybe not panning out his way as he's fallen back several seconds on the 93. That will be to his detriment. And Walker's trying to hang on for the podium here. If he does, it's going to be really bad news for Mosteller. If he doesn't, then it's going to be almost an identical playing field into Iowa. But either way, for the entirety of the night, even in the moments where Demos has had instantaneous momentum, shall we put it, it's been Walker's night. It's been Walker's night outright, in fact, just from beginning to end on these two. Pole position, he hasn't necessarily capitalized on that, but that's not more, or shall we say, it's not a indignation against his race. It's just the racecraft of a guy like Page has become impeccable today. He's had a great night in River. That's without a doubt. And I think that just goes to show that even on Walker's off day, he's been able to capitalize. Not a lot of guys can say their off day is a night where they win the pole. Well, Walker can. That's exactly what's going on here. 12 laps to go. River leads by 5 seconds over Chase Schaefer. Oh, it's a guaranteed podium if Walker can get this spot. Effectively guaranteed. The race is never over until the checkered flag falls, but when a guy's in second with 12 to spare, well, it becomes even more challenging to knock him off to 3rd or below. High side, it's Walker. Oh, big block there from Chase Schaefer. Just when you thought he didn't have it in him, he is going to fight till the bitter end. Lars Kinowith just behind now. Take a look aboard the number 11. Looks like now Chase Schaefer has got very little left in the tank, even to stay side by side. It's going to be all Walker into turns 3 and 4. Lars Kinowith surging. Oh, Chase Schaefer! Right down to the quarter panel. Two drivers collide, one gets away, and pretty clearly it's Kinowith. Chase is beyond frustrated. You can see it in the way he's driving, but he doesn't have the car to get back to Kinowith. Oh, watch this. We're 10 laps to go here. This could go very wrong, or it could be like any other moment on the track. I think we are looking maybe at it going wrong. Look at that. Chase is up on the ceiling now, blocking. Thurston low. Well, nothing comes of it yet. But last time they were together, it was a pretty hard slam. Thurston's got to watch his back, because I think Schaefer now knows exactly what he's got around him and what he's got control of. It's another driver's fate in his hands. Down the back straightaway, Thurston low in the Murphy Esports Ford Mustang. Schaefer is driving him as hard as it gets. Into 3. Still nothing there. Side by side across the line for 8 laps remaining. Chase Schaefer keeps it right alongside. Now, I'm not sure if this is just because of how hard Schaefer's obviously racing Thurston, or if it also comes down to the fact that Thurston is aware of what might happen, but James's pace has just gone down dramatically. I mean, that was a 32.731 that time by from Kinowith, 32.779 for Thurston, but it looks like overall he's being held back big. Thurston goes high on Schaefer. Didn't work out well for Chase last time. We'll see. 7 laps to go. Getting squeezed topside. It's about the worst thing that can happen, and you can see right now that Schaefer decides to let Thurston go through. Bottling, and instead Daniel Mosteller gets blocked. Inadvertently, the 87 gets caught in the mix. Daniel goes high. No dice for the 99 of Schaefer. Took a while, but they all got away. And a major shout out to River Page on what has been his night. Strategy-wise, he has worked it to perfection. River, of course, this season has already gotten himself a victory. He was the 7th winner of the season in its 7th race. And it looks like now he gets to join the ranks of the crooked number if he can only hang on for just 5 more circuits. River finds himself 7th in points coming into today, but a night like this puts him in very serious consideration for top 3 in the championship, no matter how the rest of these races go. Thurston, Schaefer, Kinowith, Kaloff, all ahead of him right now, have not yet been able to get to victory lane in the playoffs. And so as such, Thurston is going to drop a big one on him with a win today. River across the line will only have 4 more laps. The final battle in the top 10 looks to be one of the closest in Henry Kaloff and Sean Rowe. Looking at Sean here, the job is clearly not finished. Also, Vincent Guecci now going to be running behind in 11th, Ryan Kwan 12th. Rowe is a lapper, mind you, but the battle is Aladam Contreras and Henry Kaloff. Now it looks like Contreras has pulled out further. Most other positions, relatively speaking, are settled with few 10th gaps between them. And of course, your leader in Page has 6 full seconds. 3 laps to go. '88 of Vincent Guecci, 11th place right now. Very quiet day for Vinny. And usually on a night like this where he's quiet, it means he fades all the way to the back. But it looks like today that's not at all the case. Guecci's been able to maintain it all the way up to as high as single digits. Right now he's just a little bit off that, yes, but he's not doing a bad job. And I think he's going to only be doing a better job as the race progresses. Of course, the racing season progresses here, because he'll take these notes and bring them directly to what's next to come, our final intermediate in 2 weeks' time. That, of course, it is Las Vegas. Nevertheless, with talks of the future in mind, River Page still has a bright one in this series. He's a champion already, yes, but he's been going up against dominant competition this season and finally gets a shot perhaps to break out. 1 win already on the tour. Wayne Kennedy explodes at the line. White flag is out. And now Page gets to put his statement race this season in and maybe brings that momentum toward season 8. The 24 Haggard Electrical Toyota Supra is back on top again, and with his teammate just moments outside of the podium, what a day it is for Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport, leading more than half of this race with their dominating man and taking the checkered flag, River Page wins from Chicagoland and collects the checkered flag for the second time this year. Walker goes second, Kennewick third, Mosteller P5 to Thurston's P4. River was a no-doubter in a one-caution race. Fantastic work from the field to stay green with great strategy in mind. To burn it down, River Page in the 24, and right with him his teammate in Thurston. Till the motor goes, River Page celebrates in Chicago. It's River's second win on the campaign, and what a statement victory it was. His best race by far, leading 55 on the night. And of course, it'll be Aiden Walker in second, Lars Kennewick third, James Thurston in fourth, and Daniel Mosteller then in fifth. Sixth place, Chase Schaefer able to get 23 laps led on the day and found himself a strong contender all throughout, even on an alternate strategy call. Seventh place goes Jacob Wilkerson. Eighth place is going to be Elijah Innes, Aladam Contreras, Henry Kaloff in the number 63, of course. He finishes out the top 10. 11th place is going to be Vincent Guecci, Ryan Kwan as 12th, Aiden Smith 13th, Jason Cimento 14th, Andres Varas 15th place, and Braxton Whitaker 16th. With 17th and Richard Bunkley, Devins Baker 18th, Sean Rowe 19th, and Alexander Balderas P20. Wayne Kennedy goes 21st and Tyler Shaw 22nd, with Frank Horley 23rd and Carlos Truther 24th. Michael Deitch 25th and Yahir Rodriguez 26th and last on the day. One caution, one of our cleanest races not only this season but in IORA's existence. A fantastic night for all those driving, and of course, the best of which for the 24 of River Page. He was able to take over from that first pit stop onward, and there was no match for River once he got that clean air. Dominant in the second half, one caution and no stopping. Your winning man, River Page. What a job you did out there for your second of the season.
Thank you, David. Wow, that was just, we had a few off weeks recently. I felt like I was maybe coming in a little rusty. But that was just really fun. I thought it was going to be a pain to drive. In recent experiences with this track, it's just been the type of car that I don't like, just tight. And I thought it was going to be that way, but this car really was right where I wanted it to be. So we got that caution right at the beginning of the race, and I pitted for tires, which didn't really matter. But then on the restart, I don't really know how, but I got ahead of everyone else that had taken tires, and so I just got the lead, and no one ever really raced me from then on. I know it helped that Thurston and Schaefer had a bit of a run-in, but that was really, really fun race, and I was just running away the whole time, just having a good old time here. This car was just driving exactly how I wanted it to, so.
The big difference maker when you talk about this race was the opening 40-plus lap stint. Well, we saw the difference in the first caution, which led to the first pit stop cycle. Now, you were one of the many who decided to go into pit road and then went for that first green flag stop. That's when you got away. Was there any difference in how you approached the race going into it as compared to the first restart? after the caution? Were there any big differences that shifted your mindset for how you went at it?
Yeah, honestly, I knew that I was gonna have the tire advantage, and I just needed to get track position back. I didn't think it was gonna be so easy, but the tire fall off was just kind of ridiculous in the first couple laps. So the people that stayed out or didn't take tires were easy to catch. I know Horley got the lead, and so I was just gonna save. I was just run the bottom and save because I didn't honestly think I was gonna have a shot at beating some of these guys today. But I was just yeah, my mindset changed for the restart just to get to the lead to answer your question exactly. But afterwards, I was just gonna smooth sail just as I was planning to, and I got around Horley, and it was just the same thing for the rest of the race. No line switches, just really easy on the car, and it was working. So I didn't need to switch it up at all.
The fundamentals really worked out for you today, River. Not much to talk about that final dominating run. I mean, you just built distance and just built it further until the checkered flag. Now, Darlington was about the worst anyone's playoff campaign could start, but a race like this really brings you back into the consideration for top 3 in points at the very least. Iowa is up next. It's a very different style of track. It's a short track at that. But we've seen you do well there before with the Xfinity car. You started 2024 with the first FTN win of that year at that very circuit. So how do you feel heading back to the cornfields?
Um, I'm confident, honestly, because last last time we were there, I was doing really good. I was in the lead, and then I just had that freaking disaster pit stop. I missed pit road. I was on the emergency road, and I hit the wall re-entering the track. It was just a total kerfuffle by me. So I know that if I can have a good run, I'm 1 point shy of top 3, which is where I wanted to end up. So now that there's 2 races left, um, I feel like I can definitely make up some more spots. But Walker and Mosilla are in kind of a zip code of their own. But yeah, I know I have speed at Iowa, so it'll be fun. But just need to do what I've been saying. I just need to have consistent results, and I don't I don't know what it is with me and Darlington, but if that was consistent, I would be feeling really good right now. But I could still fight back for third, so that's just what I need to do.
The fight is on now to take top 3 in the championship. River Page with a statement race tonight with only 2 races ahead of us. Any final comments you'd like to add or final shout out to River?
Yeah, just shout out to Haggard Electrical and Flopper Racing and Fireball Talks NASCAR, and shout out to Jim and Chase for giving me some mid race mid race show while I was in the lead. So yeah, that was a really fun race. I just had a good time, and hopefully I can be back talking to you next week.
2 races to go and a big move up the charts. River Page winning in Chicagoland. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Big D.
With River Page on the way, second place, maybe an off night by his recent standards, but a great one at that. Aiden Walker collects the pole position, and while shying away from leading many a lap, coming back triumphantly to take second place and extend the points lead he had coming in.
Yeah, I know Demos was a little bit mad at me because I tried making a little bit of a strategical call when we were going to pit. Like I kind of like flicked down the straight to maybe signal I'm pitting, but I guess it didn't get to Demos. I apologize about it, obviously, but yeah, I mean it's understandably frustrating for him and things. So yeah, overall a really good race. Besides that one moment where I think I've made him really mad. So hopefully that doesn't go too terribly and we can actually get back. But I I hmm, I think he'll probably still race me a little harder, which I'm completely fine with that. Yeah. But overall, really good race besides that. Ran up front most of the race. Once we got to pit stops, made kind of just copy what River did last season with that early caution. That pretty much went the same exact way as what happened last season too. So surprised we actually had a copy of last season with this race, but hopefully we can move on to new repage Iowa. I'm gonna hate that so much, but new repage. I cannot talk today. But the new repage Iowa next week, and hopefully keep this momentum up. If there's something that happens between me and Deimos, probably just need to expect that at that point. I'm completely fine with that. Um, but yeah, heading into the next race, hopefully we can keep some of this momentum up. I'm still not happy what I did with Demos there at the end and things, so hopefully we can keep this momentum up at least. So
Now, you walked us pretty well through the race, so I'd have to ask about a general mindset thing that is going on. Look at what's going on between the championship points and, of course, the battle for the race win. Is your mind more focused now on just taking wins, or is it more about keeping Daniel Mosteller at bay?
I feel like I kind of just went into Verstappen mode this race, and I didn't really like it after the finish of the race and things, but I felt like I went into like a Verstappen kind of mindset where I only focus on points, which I mean, I was planning on focusing on points before this race, just pretty much having the same goal I had in the regular season championship, just and what I did last week, where okay, just finish at whoever's ahead or behind or near me in points. Which this week I think I went a little bit far with that, and like I said, understandably, Demos is mad or Marceller's mad about what happened there, and yeah, we'll hopefully move on to next week. There, I won't be mad. I mean, I probably will actually, but at some, it's still fair if he gets back at me, because yeah, that was pretty dirty trick by me, and I don't even know why I did that.
Championship tensions may be reaching new heights tonight as Aiden Walker returns again to the podium in the 93. Any final comments you'd like to send out, Aiden? The floor is yours.
Well, I gotta thank my sponsors: Lively's Custom Diecast, Chicagoland Motor Company, Blue Line Tennessee, Hyperco Coils, and of course, subscribe to the FTN YouTube channel. It has so many broadcasts. How about you list the broadcast again?
Well, we got a few good ones coming up. We got the Schumacher Racing League on Sunday night, and we got on Mondays and Tuesdays the Integrity Ignite and Octane series. That's what's up next on the menu for this next week, Aiden.
All right.
Well,
everyone just go subscribe.
with that said, Aiden Walker, second place, and continuing those great podium runs, the championship leader extends his title edge. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With Walker in the 93 finding himself second, the final man in the podium today is Lars Kinnewith in the number 11. Kinnewith now finding himself third place. Strong run, without a doubt. Lars getting closer and closer to that inevitable first win. Qualified second, finished third, Lars Kinnewith. I'm sure you know the maiden victory is getting oh so close. You just got to figure out what's next to tool yourself up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had the pace at the beginning to maybe take the win there, but I didn't have the car on the long run. I think just River Page, he was insane on the long run. I couldn't do much to catch him.
And tonight, all about the long run. You know, you mentioned that we had, give or take, 70-plus laps consecutively run. One caution. Now, looking at it again, we had just about more than 100 laps consecutively run. And multiple green flag pit stops. One of the longest runs we've had all year. We've gone to a few intermediates this season. You've run well at them as well. But tonight was different in that there really was no interruption. How at all did it impact your racing performance from beginning to end?
I'm really in anything. I'm just never very good on the long run. I'm not a great tire saver, and at I don't know, at the end there, I think I could have gotten past Aiden Walker, but I don't know. I just was kind of hard. It was hard to pass on the bottom that whole race there. I couldn't do much to him, especially with that lapped car. And then I think if there's a caution or two in the middle, I think I maybe could have gotten a chance at the win. I don't know.
Now, the final moments came down to the battle between you and Aiden Walker. Walker was able to take that position up and ahead, and later on from that point, it of course became you chasing him down. Do you think there was any possible shot that you could have returned the favor and gotten there for P2?
If I started pushing a bit earlier, I think I could have. I was just trying to save tire, and like I said, I'm not a good tire saver, so I started pushing at the end, and I was right there to Aiden, and on the last lap there, I didn't want to dump him in the corner, so I just had to give it up because there wasn't much to do. I wasn't very fast on the high line there, and you kind of only have to pass on the high line. So I think if I started pushing a bit earlier, I could have gotten a chance there.
The gap between second and third at end of day just under a tenth, or rather a hundredth of a second. That's how slim it was. But another great run for the 11 crew as Lars Kinnewith comes together with the 11 team for third place. Anything else you'd like to add? We'd love to hear.
I think Chase Schaefer was being a bit dirty during that race, but it's whatever. He was, just racing everybody very hard at the end, almost turned himself on my nose. But yeah, good race.
Lars Kinnewith, third on the day here in the 7-Eleven Toyota Supra. Thank you again for stopping by. I'll tell you this much, competition is ramping up. You saw it with Chase Schaefer and James Thurston, and your podium exemplified it again. It came between Chenoweth and Walker for only about a hundredth of a second. Chenoweth finishes in third, and Aiden Walker gets second, but River Page flies away. This will bring fourth now to the River Page team. That's where they stand in the championship lineup. 1 point back on the podium. 2 races remain, and this is it. The championship run will come to a close after Las Vegas, but first, we go to the cornfields in Newton, Iowa. The Iowa Speedway is up next for the IORA Cup Series, but until then, you've been watching coverage from the virtual Chicagoland Speedway for the 12th race of Season 7 of the IORA Cup Series, always live on FTN Broadcasting. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always sincerely appreciated. Congratulations to River Page for getting his second win of the season, and we are sure to see him next week as we go racing again from Iowa. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a fantastic night.